All right, so now that we have our root account, the next thing is to get some additional AWS accounts set up for our developers and our production environment, because we don't want to do everything in a single AWS account. We want to have some isolation for improved security. And there's a service you can use to set up multi-account, which is called Control Tower. Okay, and this is one way of doing it. It does cost a bit of money to get set up, but it does have really good security in there. But a lot of startups just kind of set up their own organizations, and you get a little bit more flexibility in terms of how you want to do your multi-account. So there is no one right way to do it, but AWS does have a strongly recommended way, which can save you a lot of time, which is here. But what we're going to do is we're just going to set up an organization the old-fashioned way, and this is the way I still do it. And what we're going to do is type in organizations, okay? And once we're in here, we're going to create our organization. We are going to say create. Okay, and a great thing about this is also it's going to centralize all of our billing for all of our accounts in one account. So it's going to go into the Exam Pro startup account. That's where all our billing information is going to show up. And all that stuff is going to, all our additional accounts will flow into that one. But we'll go here, we'll hit add account, and we're going to create an account. And I'm just going to say Andrew Brown because that's my name. And I'm going to name this Andrew plus startup plus, we're going to do our dev one first, exampro.co. Okay. And again, you know, when you create a new AWS account, you always want to have a unique email. And the cool thing is we're not going to have to add our credit card information in over and over again because it's all tied to that master account, which was the first account we created. Okay, so I'm going to hit create there, and that's going to take a bit of time. But while that's going, we're going to go ahead and set up our next one. So we're going to go in here, create an account, say Andrew Brown, and we'll do Andrew plus Brown, or sorry, Andrew plus startup. Prod at exampro.co. Prod is short for production. Okay, some people like to use pro, some do production, whatever you want to do. Okay, and so we're gonna have to just wait a little bit for those counts to get ready. We can see that this one has been created. All right, and then we'll just we'll have to wait a little bit here, but I think we can actually get started here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and start logging into these accounts. All right. I think this other one's going to appear very shortly. So in order for us to access these accounts, it's a little bit funny, but this is how you do it. So you're going to want that email. Okay. And we're going to sign out. All right. And the next thing we're going to do is go sign back in. And so we've created new accounts. And to get into them, we're going to just enter it in as if we're logging into a root account because that's what we're doing. So that's the Andrew plus startup dev at Exam Pro. And the way we're going to get access to this account is we're actually going to reset our password. That is the only way to gain access. I know it's very funny, but that's how it works in AWS. Okay. Okay, CP4876, I think I got that right, send email. And so that's going to send me an email to set up that account. And I'm going to go ahead and do it for the other one just to save myself a lot of time. So I'm going to say Andrew plus startup plus prod at exampro.co. And if that account is ready, it will allow me to do this. Okay. WN674E. Okay, we'll send that email. Great. And so I'm just going to wait for those emails to come in, and I'll see you back here shortly. All right, so that email came in here. And so what we're going to do is click this link. Okay. And what it's going to do, it's going to ask us to fill in our password. I have one auto-generated here, so I'm just going to paste it in. Okay, and now we can go ahead and sign into that account. So that was Andrew plus startup plus dev.exampro.co. Okay. All right, and so now we are in this account. Great. So we're gonna have to do the exact same process for the production account. All right, and then once you have those set up, the next thing is we're gonna want to be able to log into all these accounts with one account, because it's gonna be a pain if we have to go into both of these accounts and create users. But there's definitely a way we can do that, which is for making linked accounts. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to also make sure that you reset the password on your other account. We did dev, so you're going to want to do production, and then I want you to log out, and we're going to go back into our root account. And so for mine, that's going to be Andrew plus startup at exampro.co. Okay, and once you're there, I'll meet you back there. Okay. Okay, just before we actually go back to our root account, I was just thinking of a problem that we want to resolve really quickly here, and that's the fact that it can be a bit confusing to determine which account we're logged into, because if you look in the top right corner, it just says Andrew Brown, right? So is this the developer, the development, the production, or our master account? We can't tell. So what you can do is just click on Andrew Brown here, or whatever you put in your name is, go to My Account, and what we're going to get is this account settings options here. If you go to edit here, what we can do is change the name here. And so I'm going to just say Exam Pro Startup Dev, okay? And then we'll go done and we'll go back here. And so that's a lot more clear, okay? So you can definitely make sense of those names. So I want you to do that for the dev and your production. And you might even want to go to your original one and call it like whatever startup or whatever the name of your startup is, master account, okay? And that'll make things a lot more clear. Okay, great. So we're back here after creating our multiple accounts, and I said to go log into the master or your original master account as the root user, which is totally a lie. Actually, what I want you to do is I want you to log in as that administrative user you created. So I created one called Andrew Brown. Okay, and what I've done here is using Firefox and Safari, I actually have the other two accounts open. So here I renamed them as I showed you there to make your lives a little bit easier. So this one's now prod, dev, and this one's now called master. When you're logged in as to root, it's going to show that. But when you're logged in as just a user that's not root, it'll always just show your username @ and then that short link that you chose. Okay, but anyway, the idea is. It would be kind of a pain if I had to go create a user account here and a user account there, okay? Or it would be very safe if I used the root accounts. So an easy way to navigate between these accounts is to set up cross-account roles. So the idea is that what you're doing is you're granting one user from a different AWS account access to roles or permissions in these other accounts, and that's what we're gonna do, okay? So what I've done is I've collected all the short URLs for for those accounts that I set up. Remember, we went to the IAM console and set it up there. Okay, so I set those there. And these are the account IDs. So if you're looking for a list of them, you can just go to My Organizations here, okay, in that user account there. And we can see all those IDs to save us a little bit of time. But I just threw them up there because we were going to have to do a bit of copy paste, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to go to your dev and just make sure you're in the IAM console. So just type in IAM. Okay, and then you're going to go to roles on the left-hand side, and we're going to create a new role, okay? And so we want to make a role for another AWS account, and we're going to want to give access to this user here in our master account, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this, paste that in, and you can see you can apply MFA here, which is a very good security feature. I would recommend turning that on. And we'll go next. And now we can say what kind of permissions we want to give them. So we could give them administrator access so that you can do anything you want in this account. You probably don't want to do this. You probably want to give them power user if you want to give them the most permissive thing, but not like the utmost powerful stuff, even for your own account, because you just want to reduce the security concerns. Because imagine if your main account was compromised and they all had admin access. People could do some serious damage. So if you want, you can give this a power user, or if you just want to be able to look at things, I think there's a read-only account in here. There used to be like an en masse one. I can't seem to find it right now, but I would just say power user is good enough, okay? All right, and so I'm just going to checkbox that on there. We'll go next. We'll hit next to review, and I'm just going to call this Exam Pro cross account, okay? Okay, and we'll just describe this. So provides our admin from the master account access to the dev account, okay? All right. And so now that we did that, we'll just go ahead and create that role. Okay, and so what I want you to do is click into that role, and if you go to trust relationships, you can see that this is a trusted entity now. So it's saying I trust this account ID to gain access. Okay, and so the way we're going to set up this account is they have this nice little convenient link here. So what I want you to do is you just want to copy it. So just press that copy button, and we'll go into our other browser here and just paste it on in. Okay. And then what you need to do is fill in the account, role, and the display name. And so that's based on the other account. So I'm going to take it from the developer here. It's already pasted in there. That's the name of the role. So if I go back here, you can see the role name is right here. So you're just going to have to type that in there. I think that's the same. Just going to double check. Exam Pro cross account. Yep, it's the same. I think it auto-filled when we click that link. Okay. And we're just going to call that development. I'm going to just choose the color green because that seems pretty good for development to me. And we'll go ahead and switch roles. Okay. All right. If you got an error there, you might be logged into your master account. Make sure you're just logged into that administrator account we made earlier. But now we have this nice cool toggle here, so we can actually switch between accounts. So we'll do the same thing for the production just to get this down. And so here I actually didn't set that name for the prod. So I'm just going to go ahead there and set that. Save me a bit of trouble later on down the road. Make sure that period's not in there. Okay, and so we're going to go to roles, and I'm going to create a new role. I'm going to say another AWS account. I'm going to get the master account, the user that I want to link. Okay, turn on MFA. If security is very important to you, you should definitely do that. And we are going to choose power user. Okay, anything but admin. Okay, and we'll go next, and we will describe this role. So I'm going to call it the same thing: Exam Pro cross account. Okay. Grant our admin user from master account to the prod account. Okay, we're going to create that role, and then what we're going to do is click into it, and we're going to get this link again. So we'll just copy it. All right, and we'll paste it in here. Okay, and then I'm going to call this production. Since this is serious business, we'll make it red. Okay. All right, and so now we're in production, and so we can now toggle between these accounts and do whatever we want. All right, so that's a great way to manage multiple accounts. Yeah, and one thing to note, that if you do clear out all your cookies, this information will be lost. You'll have to set them up again. So that is one of the pains there. So if that's something you do, just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's how you can quickly move between other accounts. When you are setting up accounts, like for your developers, you don't want to be making them an account in the master account and then cross-linking the roles. This is really just for you, for administrative purposes, okay? You're going to want to individually create those users in the development account. This is production, but whoever should have access to production, create them accounts, like user accounts. Whoever should have access to development, create isolate accounts there, okay? And for special people like you get cross-account roles to make your life easier. So there you go. So now we're set up for multi-account, and we can move on to the next section.